All right, welcome back everybody. One more video with no face in the corner. My face has almost completely healed, but not quite yet due to my illness, not related to the coronavirus, so don't worry guys. But I know most of you are here for the TA, so let's just get right into the charts. You know, this is Crypto Rolly. Thank you for watching again. Hit that like, comment, subscribe, tick the bell for notifications. This is not financial advice. Do your own research, trade at your own risk. I am not your financial advisor. All right, so let's take a look at the market. We can see that we are down 4% on Bitcoin in the last 24 hours. The real volume actually is under 1 billion, so it's pretty low. And it has been a bit of a slow bleed over the past, 24 hours. We'll look at that. And you see most of the coins are slightly down in the majors, okay? Crypto Fear and Greed Index still at a 12. You're still hanging super low here. And we discussed this earlier. This might not change anytime soon. Generally, when you get this low, you see a nice spark or pump back up. And we haven't seen that yet, which could lead some to believe that we're due. However, these circumstances with the pandemic are very different than we've seen in the past. In fact, we have never seen anything on this scale. So yes, people are fearful. And the block halving for Bitcoin in 42 days, all right? Interesting to note is that the Bitcoin Cash and BSV halving is actually coming this month. Not too many people are talking about it, but basically Bitcoin Cash has its halving April 8th. Today is April 1st, so about a week away, and Bitcoin SV April 9th. If you want to take a look at this article, you can look it up, but basically Bitcoin selling pressure to continue until Bitcoin Cash halving. They're making their argument here. If you're interested, take a look it up. I am not a computer programmer, so some of this goes above my head. I mostly just look at the charts and go from there. But just interesting to note, so we'll have to see, if this comes true or not, okay? So let's go back to the charts. I'll get to this in a second. These are some, support trend lines that I'm looking at currently right now. We are hitting one as we speak. And I wanted to also show the S&P because yesterday we closed right around here and we opened up back down. So basically got rejected by the 21 EMA on the daily. And the 21 EMA, depending whether it's the weekly or the daily, is a good, accurate indicator whether you are bullish or bearish. So underneath the 21 EMA, you are bearish, right? Above bullish. And to see this rejection is interesting. We'll go down a little closer on the 1 hour. And you can see we opened the 1 hour candles beneath all moving averages here, taking a little dip. So you had your, the sell off. We had a nice little bounce, but getting rejected at a critical spot. If you look at the weekly, we can show where that got rejected. Rejected by your 200 simple. Below that is a bear market, so rejected there. So, looking at Bitcoin's chart, we could see something similar. Sell off, a rally, and then getting rejected. So just keeping that on our radar, okay? Especially during the Wall Street hours, you can see the price moving together, Bitcoin with the S&P. So like I said, we're looking at the support line here, and these support lines, are very, subjective, depending on whether you're looking at BitMEX or Bitstamp or Coinbase. You're going to see different type of candles, so you can draw these any way you want. But you can see that if you're using the candle bodies here, we are hitting a bit of we actually bounced perfectly off of it right here. The low on this was 61.40. Okay, so I think this might just be a temporary bounce. If we are able to break that, your next support will be this horizontal flat line of support down around 58.50. You know, if you're going to maintain higher lows, maybe it's 59.50. So technically, you know, this is a low and a higher low. You could get, you know, another higher low around 59.50, 6,000. But I imagine this is starting to look a bit like a head and shoulders. It's not a completed head and shoulders unless this neckline breaks down, but I think we will test down this direction. And looking a little closer, I'll go over to my Bitstamp chart. I'm monitoring the 1 hour 10 simple. Let me close that. We'll go over to the 1 hour. Just on a smaller time frame, you can see that we are being governed by the blue 10 simple here. So, you know, a 1 hour close back above the blue 10 simple will be a first, you know, in this little trend here. So that'll be a change of trend, possibly see a bounce there. Your stochastics are super low and just hanging out, you know. So I believe if you do get that close above the blue 10 simple, you could see maybe we get a pop here in the stochastics. But right now, you know, just in the steady downtrend, you could even draw a falling wedge pattern here. You can see, you know, falling wedges can break out bullish, you know, so if we are able to close back above here, we could break out bullish. You know, the signal for this breakout, and I shared this on Twitter because I wasn't on my I wasn't recording YouTube videos, but there was this diagonal that we were drawing here, and you can see the second that we broke that, it actually popped right there. So you're looking at a similar situation, you know, but until we actually close above that, I wouldn't be expecting that bounce yet. You want to wait for confirmations, okay? And this is just a 1 hour time frame. If you go to the 4 hour time frame, you know, you're still closing consecutive bearish candles one after another. So until that trend changes, I would also maintain, you know, this bearish momentum. You have the 4 hour Stokes coming down. And so, you know, let's do the usual 4 hour, 12 hour daily, weekly breakdown. Since I'm already here on the lower time frames, we'll start with the 4 hour. So yes, your Stokes still coming down aggressively and have plenty of room to come down. You know, usually I like to see the 4 hours start to cross back up to get that signal for a bounce, which you could see here when you got that cross up. That's where this was initiated. So, you know, after this candle closed bullish above this one and you had your cross, that was a signal for you guys, okay? And the 4 hour RSI still putting in a downtrend here, lower highs, and you still have room to come down. It's not oversold yet, okay? Let's look at the moving averages. Moving averages, you've closed beneath all of the major moving averages here. So, you know, could we get a retest back up to where the orange 50 EMA and yellow 21 EMA, they are basically hand in hand. Actually, the 21 EMA is dipping just below the 50 EMA, which is bearish cross. I don't think that will be confirmed until this 4 hour close. Let me put my volume back on. But say we do break that little, you know, falling wedge, you know, I would imagine we retest 63.30 about, and, you know, could get a rejection there. Okay, so retest, rejection, and down. All right, but this is bearish closing beneath all of them. And our Bollinger Bands, so this was also another bearish signal. You know, I had taken a short up here, and I'm still holding a portion of that short, and I kind of just out of, you know, curiosity want to see how far I can ride this short from up here. So I closed 75% of that short here on one of my trading accounts, and I've opened an additional short on another account around here once I saw this confirmation, okay? Minimal risk. You know how I play. But basically, this confirmation closing beneath the middle BB on the 4 hour added to the bearish momentum and argument now that we are in the bearish zone. And talking about shorts, guys, I've opened up my Discord So limited time free, go ahead, jump in. You know, everyone's going through a hard time right now. And you know what? This is a new YouTube channel, new Discord channel. I understand, you know, people may be skeptical, so I'm going to prove myself. So guys, check it out. You have VIP chat, you have calls here, charts here. It's open, limited time, free for everyone. You know, in this time of hardship, it's a good time to give back to the community. And the information, the link, the invite link is down below in the info, so go ahead and jump on that. So let's keep it going. The Ichimoku clouds. Ichimoku cloud, you also close beneath this blue conversion line, and we are retesting that blue conversion line now. Price 62.22. We'll monitor that, and so that blue conversion line resistance is at 62.40. So if the 4-hour can close back above it, you know, that could also be a sign that we might get a little bounce. And you have resistance here as well around 6,300. All right, so let's go to the 12-hour. On the 12-hour, we close beneath the blue conversion line, adding to that bearish confirmation as well. You can see that yesterday's video, we were in this range between the pink and the blue line. We broke beneath it, closed beneath it, and trading beneath it. So, and continued down the road, you have a bearish Ichimoku cloud here that will provide resistance down the road as well. If this dips, you're going to see this cloud probably continue down this way. Looking at our stochastics, the stochastics did get a cross up, okay? So, you know, we do have that cross up, but that was initiated. It is a lagging indicator that was initiated from this move here. If we continue down, this can easily just drop back down. And looking at this, I'm just looking at the RSI, see if I see anything. I mean, it potentially looks like maybe a head and shoulder, or inverse head and shoulder possibly on the RSI. We'll keep our eye on that. But I think if we just, you know, break down this, so on this right here looks like a potential inverse head and shoulders up, but if you zoom in, you're looking at a head and shoulders down. So just looking at patterns, you know, none of these are perfect, just keeping our eye on those. And let's look at our Bollinger Bands. Bollinger Bands, you are back in the bearish zone as well on the Bollinger Bands on the 12-hour. Okay, so back in the bearish zone, and not really bullish unless we can close back above it, which is at 64.07, the middle BB 64.07. Your moving averages, we are now trading beneath all moving averages. We did close beneath the yellow 21 EMA on the 12-hour. On the daily, we are beneath all moving averages. So let's see if this closes bearish here. And, you know, if this closes at current price, you know, I could definitely see the next candle being bearish as well, coming back down here. Your stochastics on the daily crossed down, momentum to the downside in favor of the bears. And you can also, so on the daily, you could see a potential inverse head and shoulders. If this ends up, you know, breaking back above the yellow 21 EMA on the daily, which is at 65.25, say we close back above 65.25 and start to rise, you know, your next target would be the 50 EMA at 7,300 right here, and maybe you see that inverse head and shoulders kind of play out to the top side. But this stochastic on the daily coming down is pretty bearish, and everything else is looking bearish. Anything can change at any moment, so it's good to see, you know, where your levels are of resistance, you know, just to see, like, if you are in a short, where your short trade is invalidated, okay? So you want to know where your trade is invalidated so that you are not stubbornly sitting underwater as price continues to go up, okay? You got to know when to exit your trades and look for another trade another day. Okay, Bollinger Bands. Let's look at the Bollinger Bands. Bollinger Bands are in the bullish zone, so that is the only one of the very few bullish indicators we have. But like I say, the bearish ones are outweighing the bullish ones. But if you had a checklist, this would be one that you could check, potentially bullish, that we're still in the the bullish zone. Okay, Ichimoku clouds. Ichimoku clouds, You're between the pink baseline and the blue conversion line. And you know, the thing about this is this blue conversion line is coming down super aggressively. So if we float sideways, you know, this tends to like, you know, starts to go sideways like we had it here. See, it was coming down and then it went sideways. So maybe you could come sideways down the road, but that's 5,500, okay? 5,500, if it went sideways, would be your support. All right, so to see this coming down aggressive is kind of a bit of a bearish sign, and you had that bearish cross here. Until this crosses back above the pink one, you won't have a bullish Kumo cross, and your daily cloud is forming bearish here. You're forming a red cloud here on the daily. This 5,500 is also going to line up with the weekly 200 simple, I believe, okay? All right, so let's go to the weekly. Let's take a look at the weekly. On the weekly, just while we're on the Ichimoku clouds, you can see that you're well above this well below this resistance level. We did tag it. It was at 71.75. You know, if we continue to bounce here, you will have resistance there at 71.75. It said 7,300 on one of those other indicators. So just in that 7,000 region. All right, and our weekly stochastics are still coming down. And we are not oversold on the weekly quite yet either. And you can see, you know, when we had this major bottom here, let me take off the Ichimoku clouds. When we had this bottom here, we came all the way to the oversold on the weekly, okay? This was the bottom, and you were oversold. Again here, this bottom, you were oversold as well on the weekly. We have not hit that. So, you know, very potentially could come down before we actually bottom to this level on the weekly. Okay. Our moving averages, so your pink 200 simple is at 55.85. So basically, you know, if we break down, going back to, let's go back to the 4 hour just to put this into perspective. So if we do break this, you know, trend line, whether you want it to be a rising trend line, rising channel, or just a horizontal, depending how you draw it. But nonetheless, if we break 59, 58, your next level will be, what did I say, around 5,500. We'll draw just, you know, for the sake of this video, we'll draw something right here. So that says 54.60. We'll drag it up 55, 50 maybe, okay? And that's where the pink 200 simple is, and also that would be like the top side of this trading range. So, you know, resistance flipped support. So maybe you could look for a bounce here. If we don't have that bounce here, you could get a bounce here and then a bounce here. Now, if you lose the pink 200 simple, let's go back to our weekly and put that on. So if you lose the pink 200 simple, you know, we are starting to talk about retesting the 3,000 area, okay? You know, zooming out as well, you can see, and we'll go to the monthly, we are putting in lower highs right now on the monthly. High, lower high, lower high. We haven't put in a lower low on the monthly yet, okay? And, you know, we'll have to see. Do we have a low and a higher low? Do we come back and test this and form like a descending triangle? I can kind of draw it. Ignore that little bit here. Do we come all the way down and then bounce and form a descending triangle? And we all know how descending triangles work, so that wouldn't be a good sign either. Or do we put in a lower, sorry, that's the wrong tool. 1 second. Or do we put it in a lower low? If we put in a lower low here, do we start forming a channel like that? So if we do something like that, guys, you know, it might be a while until we get back to 10K. So these are, you know, these are scenarios that we don't want to see as far as within the short term. We don't want to see this. I'm not saying that we can't reach, you know, all-time highs again. I'm just saying if you get a lower low right here on the monthly, that could spell a longer bear market. So we don't want to see that, okay? That's what we don't want to see. So let's go back to the weekly, get off the doomsday talk, but just got to be aware of that. So we want to stay above the pink 200 simple. So if we do test this, we want to bounce. You're losing that, your 377 EMA is down at 35.40. Your low here was 31.22. So you could come down and test the 377 EMA and not put in a lower low yet. But guys, I would much rather see us maintain this level to hold a bullish narrative going into the future. But just because that's what I would like to see, I can't trade based off of what I would like to happen. I have to trade off of the chart. So that's what we're doing, trading the charts. Okay, guys. Bollinger Bands, we bounce off the bottom Bollinger Band, and we're kind of floating sideways. Nothing too important there. Let's it's been 20 minutes. Okay, so let's finish up with the Heikin Ashi, and we'll be out. All right, Heikin Ashi. On the weekly, the Heikin Ashi is still definitely bearish. Let's look at the monthly while we're at it. Bearish on the monthly. On the daily, we did put in, off of that bounce, a bullish candle here, but looking like a reversal with, wicks on both sides. See how we had this reversal one here, and then we had a bullish? Well, potentially putting in another reversal, and the next one could be bearish again, if things are playing out the way they look to be playing out. Okay, going down to the 12-hour. On the 12-hour, bearish. On the 4-hour, I'm sure it's bearish. Bearish as well. All right, so there you guys have it. Thanks for tuning in again. And, hit that like one more time. Leave a comment. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Tick the bell for notifications if you want these updates, in real time, because we all know the charts and Bitcoin move real fast. If you watch a video 8 hours after it's posted, it can be completely negated. So you want to watch them as soon as possible. All right. Thanks again, guys. We'll see you next time.